Are you spending a lot of time changing your fuel filters on your 4th gen Ram 25 or 3500 truck and spending way too much money for your filters? In this video, we will show you how to make your own filter relocation kit so you can cut costs and spend more time doing the things you want to do. Welcome back to MKS Performance and Offroad. If you're new here or haven't subscribed to us yet, we encourage you to hit that subscribe button and bell notification in order to get notifications when we upload new videos. Now let's get into this video. We developed this kit for easier, more affordable, better than stock filtration replacement. The kit will eliminate the possibility of your plastic filter housing cracking in cold weather, housing cap from stripping out, and filters that are available anywhere. This filter relocation kit allows for easier filter access, relocating the filters from off of the engine to back behind where the drive shaft is, right next to the factory fuel water separator. It's just as good or better than stock filtration in regards to whatever filter you decide to put on it. It saves money on filter changes, and you can utilize a CAT 1R0750 or a Donaldson filter that is half the price of the Fleetguard FS 53000 that is located on the engine. Filters are available at more retailers, more filter options in a pinch. There's no special sockets that are required to change these filters out, only a filter wrench is all that is required. It replaces the plastic filter housing with something that won't crack when cold or strip the head or threads of the housing. The parts that are required for this filter relocation kit are going to be the Baldwin fuel water separator, which is the factory filtration separator that comes on the truck, which is this piece here. A Donaldson fuel water separator, P553207 is what we're using. We chose to go with this because this is actually a fuel water separator, much like the one that is on the truck up on the motor, which is similar to the FS 53000 from Fleetguard. So keep in mind that if you're replacing your main filter or your secondary filter up on the engine, it is a fuel water separator as well, and you'll probably likely want to replace it with another fuel water separator. You can opt to run the 1R0750 from CAT, which we have done, and it does fit both of these. However, keep in mind that the Donaldson filter has a steel thread and a magnet actually sticks to it, so we verified that, and the CAT fuel filter does not. It actually has aluminum threads, and it can have some galling occur. This Donaldson fuel filter is a 3 micron at 99% efficiency filter. It has 95% emulsification, and it is described on Donaldson's website as allowing a 100 gallon per hour flow rating, just for a few specs. The CAT fuel filter, that's a 1R0750, is rated or was rated for 2 microns and is no longer rated for 2 microns according to more recent publications that now rate it as a 3 micron. I wasn't able to find any specific information as far as exactly that specification, but I was all over the forums looking, and there is a document floating out there that does recommend that it is or reference that it's a 3 micron rather than a 2 micron, and that is old information. I reached out to CAT, and they were only wanting to refer me to the dealership. So if you have any questions about what filter you want to use, my recommendation would be to contact a CAT dealership and get the flow ratings and the filtration specs from them directly. The next item that we're going to be using is an ICT billet 3/8 male fuel line quick connect fitting to 10AN ORB adapter. A -10 ORB male to -6AN fitting, male fitting. This one is from ICT billet. We also use some that are from Russell. We have purchased 10 feet of 6AN 3/8 nylon braided fuel line, Russell 624 163 twist lock black 6AN 90 degree fittings. This one is a Evil Energy swivel -6 AN fitting. The other one is actually on the truck currently running. And then you're going to need some 304 stainless steel single ear hose clamp assortments, also known as I think they're called Oetiker clamps, which are these. We just use these end snips to I guess that's what I call them, end snips, to crimp those. There is a special crimping tool that you can get for them though. We have a female Bundy to hose barb fuel line quick release for 3/8 steel to 5/16 ID 3/8 OD nylon hose, which is this guy right here. So it's got the quick releases here, so you can just pinch and release it. And then we have a fitting fuel line quick connector 3/8 barb to 3/8 Bundy male tube. This is made by, or sold by rather, Fitting Space. These took a little bit of time to order and get in, so if you're gonna need this quickly, I would order them about a week in advance or so. And then we have some stainless steel cable clamps, rubber cushioned insulated clamp 5/8. These are 1/2 inch ones, but general idea of what they're actually called. The 1/2 inch ones were a little too small, so I'd go 5/8 or 3/4, and all this does is just hold this whole line in place on the bracket. And then we had 1/8 inch mild steel to make the bracket, 3/8 by 16 by 1 inch stainless steel bolts for the filter housing with lock washers. This is just a demonstration of how to put it together once you've made it, so you'll have lock washers on these. We don't have any more at the moment, so just keep that in mind. And then some zip ties just to zip tie up your connectors and that kind of thing. Stores that supplied parts, or you can obtain these parts from, are going to be Amazon, O'Reilly Auto Parts, AutoZone, or Advanced. We really tried to make this so that you could build this kit at home, not have to have any special bending tools to bend stainless tubing and things like that. The first variation that we did make did utilize a Dorman piece like this. We just couldn't get a good seal on it. Even with using steel connections on a steel line, it still wasn't able to seal correctly, so that's why we went with just AN fittings all the way around and braided line. This is one of the tubes that we made. The first one, it was a real pain to bend without buying expensive machinery, and again, we just couldn't get it to seal the way that we wanted. Even with a good flare, it's to spec, but we just couldn't get it to do what we wanted it to do. This one is actually aluminum, so we went aluminum all the way around. If you're gonna do this route, I would recommend that you get some good aluminum tubing and some aluminum fittings. Don't use steel on aluminum and aluminum on steel. All right, so the first thing you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna draw and lay out your bracket. So this is what it'll look like on the truck. This is your factory fuel water separator. And essentially there's a bracket at the back side of this that is attached to your frame. And these two bolts here secure it just like so. So all you're doing is you're sandwiching this bracket between the factory fuel filter housing and the frame mount, and then you're gonna snug these bolts back up. You will need to loosen these. This will probably stay on the truck. This is just for show right now. And then you're gonna assemble everything onto this bracket. We'll be doing a write-up on this so that if you have any further questions, hopefully we can answer them in the write-up a little bit further rather than just in this video, real short and quick. But once you've got the bracket made, then we're gonna get into assembling the bracket. Okay, so now that we've got our bracket made, we're going to go ahead and start assembling our pieces. So the first thing you're going to notice is that on these filter housings, there's an arrow. That arrow needs to point towards the fuel supply or the fuel tank. Ensure that this hole here, or this opening, is facing to the right as you're assembling it. So it's going to go like so. Arrow that way, and the opening is now on the right side of the bracket as you're assembling it. Go ahead and flip the bracket over and start placing your bolts. And fasten the filter housing, or the filter base, to the bracket. Now if your holes are slightly off, or if you get this bracket powder coated or you paint it and it's slightly off, don't worry, just get the bolt started and it'll walk itself down. You may get a little bit of buildup on the bracket, and that's okay. Now you're going to ensure that it's properly mounted. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to install our fittings. Okay. The QD fitting from ICT Billet is going to go in the same direction as all the other ones are going on the other filter housings. You're going to install this one on the left side and the AN fitting on the right side. These have O-rings on them, as they are ORBs, O-ring bosses. So you want to ensure that you lubricate this O-ring so that when you're inserting it, it doesn't catch and tear. For this, you can use any type of lubricant that you want, a little bit of oil. I'm going to use a little bit of air tool oil. Put a little dab on it. Kind of run it around. Start that, snug it up. We'll come back and tighten that with a wrench. A little more on there. Okay. Now we'll install this side. Next thing you're going to want to do is if you're making this kit and you need this hose here that basically goes from this side over to here to supply your filter housing. It is 26 inches, so you're going to cut your braided line to 26 inches, and then you're going to insert either your push lock fitting or your AN fitting that is like this, and then you're going to insert your QD here. We put clamps on just for extra insurance to make sure they don't come off, but this system is really under no major pressure. It's roughly 10 to 12 psi. So this hose will be held in place by the clamp, and it will go to your QD here on the Raycor filter base. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do, you're going to go ahead and install your feed line from your filter from your fuel water separator, your primary, to your secondary. And then what this is going to do is the feed line that comes in here from the tank, you're basically going to move it to this location here. And then this one is going to wrap around from the other side into here. And it's going to feed this. So we're going to attach it here. You're going to grab a bolt that's whatever size you drilled that hole that fits this clamp, whatever clamp you have, that's the size you want to determine before you go and drill all these holes. That way you're matching the bolt to the hole size of both the clamp and the bracket. You can get away with a 3/4 inch long bolt or a 1 inch. It'll be fine either way. So you'll install that. tighten the bolt down, clamp it together here, connect it, and you're all set to go. This will just kind of sit up here. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to take your extension here that you made. Now this piece of tubing here, this braided line, this is 6 inches, and then you just insert your fittings and crimp them. What this is going to do is it's going to go to your factory connection point that used to be here on this fuel filter housing, and it's going to now connect to here. So you're going to install this, and I would put this, instead of, you can put it either way, up and down or side to side, like so. And you're essentially just going to clip it on there. Okay, now you're ready to go. This is ready to go up on the truck and receive both your fuel filters here. One of the things that we did do is, and I want to mention this, is you want to make sure that this comes through under here and doesn't get pinched up in here. So that is one big takeaway that you need. Now we're gonna put in a clip of the installation on the truck. Please note that it is not this specific build that we're putting up. It is a very similar build. All the connection is going to be the same. It's just going to be with the system that is running this tubing. It is the same bracket. It is the same filters, same everything. We just have some different plumbing hardware. So just know that the connection for this connection and these connections are still going to apply, but we just didn't have the video of us putting this particular build up on the truck. All right, so after you've got everything up on the truck, first thing you want to do is you want to start the truck and check for leaks. What we want to do is insert our key, and we're just going to turn it to run for a few seconds, let it prime everything. You're going to do that probably 2 or 3 times, I'd say. Okay. I like to do it a few more just to make sure that everything's good. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start it and see if she runs. All right, so we primed it probably 5 or 6 times, and you can tell it's good. So we definitely got fuel through that filter. It's all going the right way, so let's get out and check and make sure we ain't got any leaks while it's running. I recommend checking the feed line at the 90-degree and the Bundy connections and ensure that they are not leaking. Especially if you got any type of play or anything, just make sure that they're sealed up and they're good to go before you take off. Now you can install this kit along with your factory filtration. It will not harm anything. Or you can do what we did and do a fleece fuel filter delete block off the engine and take that filter housing completely off. It is entirely up to you. I wanted easier access to my filters. These filters, I think this Donaldson one is about $22 as opposed to over $45 for the Fleet Guard. I think they call it a NanoNet FS 53,000. So this will save you a significant amount of money on your filter changes throughout the life of your truck. The biggest takeaway from this video is that anyone can make this kit themselves and be able to find replacement parts fairly easy. And this is how we designed our fuel filter relocation kit. Regardless of what filter you use, ensure that if you delete the filter on the engine, you are replacing it with another fuel water separator like the Donaldson P553207. Now go start creating your new fuel filter relocation kit for your 4th gen Ram. It's only a few orders away and having you back on the road with better, more cost-effective filtration. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button if you found this helpful, as we are putting out new content often. All the products in the video will be linked below in the description, so be sure to check that out.